Hey everybody, Spopes here. Leveling up in ESO is a nuanced process, and everyone thinks they have the best method. Rather than definitively declare the best way to do it, in this video I aim to share my insight from over 10 years of playing the game. I've leveled so many characters over that time, and I've done it efficiently, I've done it inefficiently, and everything in between. Over that decade of experience, I have learned which methods to choose and which to avoid to not only get a character to level 50 the fastest, but keeping yourself sane in the process. I want to give a disclaimer right from the start that you might disagree with some of this, and some of those disagreements might be valid, and I would encourage you to add that to the comments. There's always more to consider and to learn when it comes to ESO. But if you just want to know how to get to level 50 pretty quickly and pretty easily, I'm going to explain that in this video. With all that out of the way, the most efficient way, in my opinion, to get to level 50 the fastest is to run Dolmens until level 10 or so, then intersperse that with group dungeons. Make sure to equip Training Gear, use XP Consumables, and maybe consider waiting for the periodic events like Jubilee and New Life Festival that give 2x XP. Another competing option is Spellscar in Craglorn, but the issue with Spellscar is that you have to have pretty high DPS. With Dolmens, you can just leech off stronger players. All you have to do is get a single hit in and you get the XP for that monster kill. Dolmens are so easy, they're basically AFK. Often people actually do treat it that way. You'll see dudes just camping at the same dolmen, maybe watching TV, doing something else. Sometimes I've seen these guys over the course of an entire weekend and they finally get to level 50. There are people who take the really casual route with this. But you can even get in a group. You can go from dolmen to dolmen. They're about every 2 to 3 minutes. They level you up really fast. That's just through my endless experience doing this. There are so many different approaches you can take, but the one that really makes it fast is Dolmens. While I ride over to the nearest dolmen over here in Oridon, let's talk about what you need to be doing no matter what method you choose to make sure you're getting the most XP. First of all, you're going to want to get your hands on some training gear. Some people stay at level 1 gear for the entire ride up to level 50. Some people exchange it every 10 levels or so for higher level gear. Whatever you do, just try leveling it up all the way to purple. Not necessarily gold, especially if you're planning to replace it 10 levels in or so, but get it to at least purple quality level because every quality level you go up increases the amount of XP that gear gives you. You can either buy training gear, you can beg it from somebody, people are often happy to help, or you can get a good crafter already in place who can make the training gear for you, which you then bank and then pick up on your new character. There are also various consumables such as Sigic Ambrosia and experience scrolls that give you extra XP. You can only use one of these items at a time, but they do stack with the XP bonuses that come from events like Jubilee and New Life. These XP buff items vary from giving 50 to 100 to 150% XP at the highest level. So if you make sure to run plus 150% XP consumables and wait for an event and use training gear, you can speed this all up by a huge margin. Let's get into a little bit more detail as to why I say dolmens are the best option. First, it's really passive. You don't have to be powerful. You don't really have to do anything. You just have to run around hitting enemies at least once before they die. And you're actually contributing, so it's not like you're really leeching off anybody. Every little bit of damage helps when clearing a dolmen. It makes it go a little bit faster. So you can contribute to something, you can cooperate with other players, even if you're playing solo and not in a group, and you can consider grouping up because as long as you're near a group member, you get XP when they tag or kill a monster as well. Now, compared to other commonly cited options like Spellscar, Spellscar is an area in Craglorn where there are a lot of monster spawns, but you have to compete for them with other players, and you have to have high DPS right out the gate, which is kind of like why you're leveling your character in the first place. They're weak at the beginning. So why Spellscar is so commonly cited as the preeminent way to get a character from level 1 to level 50 confuses me immensely because there's such a better or easier or lower investment or more accessible option right here with Dolmens. I think maybe Dolmens might take slightly longer, but that's again only if you're already putting out huge DPS. You can make Spellscar go fast, just like you can make public dungeons go fast, but neither one of those is a really good leveling technique because you have to be outputting a lot of damage. Also known as Dark Anchors, Dolmens are in every single base zone in the game. I guess except Craglorn, and that's I guess a base zone, and little islands like Ivea, but all of the large full-size base zones have Dark Anchors that spawn. The most popular on every server is Alakir. There will always be people running Alakir Dolmens. It's actually kind of comforting. You can sit there in the middle of the night and just know that someone out there is zerging Dolmens and Alakir. it never ends. So you can go out there, you can join a group. There are tons of people leveling. Everyone says GG when you get to level 50. It's kind of a party atmosphere. It's literally, it's like Las Vegas. It's the party that never stops. It's out in the desert. It is really, it's the Las Vegas. It is the Las Vegas of ESO. And that's kind of why I come to Auradon, because this is more like California, right? This is like Southern California, Central California, something like that, right? I like the vibes here, and the fact that it's a little bit less crowded means when I'm leveling a character solo, there's more of a chance of me getting a hit on each monster as it appears. In Alakir, things go down so fast that you have to join a group in order to level fast out there. I know that Stonefalls, Deshaun, a few other zones are relatively popular too, but I've only ever leveled with Dolmens in Alakir or Auradon. Touching a bit more on the Craglorn route, maybe someone can explain to me why this is valid, but there are so many creators out there saying you should do this, and I really contest it. I really think that just the overall premise of you needing to have high DPS as a low-level character is just sort of foolish, and that really you should not encourage people to go try to bite off more than they can chew in that way. That's just my 2 cents. But if you somehow manage to do high DPS on your low-level character, you might want to head out to Spellscar or even just do public dungeons. Now, whichever method you choose, I would at least consider grouping. This video is mostly about solo play, but the point about grouping for leveling in this game is it's not really that social. It's very casual. You just drop in, drop out. Nobody expects you to talk or hang out or be best friends or anything like that. You can just say X when you're in the chat in Alakir and someone will invite you, and then you can just say GG, thanks for the group, and just leave. Like, nobody cares. So it's very, very low level social interaction. So even if you're a pretty solo person, I totally understand that. I'm a lone wolf gamer, but I still sometimes group in Alakir just for convenience. And if you're in Spellscar or something like that, grouping will definitely be helpful because then you can share the XP instead of competing. And speaking of grouping, group dungeons are a great way to get a big boost of XP on a character you're leveling every day. It resets on a daily basis, but you only unlock them at level 10. So level your character to level 10 at Dolmens and then start queuing for these. This is one reason you might not want to group, because when you're in a group, you can't queue. So go to a place like Auradon where it goes through relatively quickly, but you can make sure you tag each enemy and then queue for another group dungeon the second you're done with the first. Given the fact these are all base game dungeons, you probably won't get them that quickly. You'll probably have 5 to 10 minutes between each, which gives you plenty of time to do a few more Dolmens and get some XP that way. These also give a huge chunk of XP the first time you complete the dungeon's quest, and like I mentioned, they're all base game dungeons, so they go really fast even if you're on a low level character. This is often overlooked, and I'm not exactly sure why. I guess because there's some time investment sometimes, but really only 5 to 10 minutes max. And if you do it once a day, you get the daily bonus, which is huge. It scales with your level. And if it's the first time you've done that dungeon, now sometimes I'm bad and I'll just quit the dungeon if I've done it on that character already, because I don't get the quest XP. I do this especially when I've already done my daily dungeon too, and I won't get the big boost of XP from that. But at least once per character per day, if you're leveling that character from 1 to 50, it is a really good idea to do your daily dungeon. So I haven't gotten this far on my Rastafari and Khajiit here, but if you do unlock companions on your low-level character, it does pay off. Now that does mean you have to get through the companion's first quest, which can be challenging due to the low DPS of low-level characters. But if you're willing to slog through that, you can get your level 20 companion at your side fully geared out if you've leveled it up and geared it on another character. And then it can tag enemies, it can help you make sure you tag all of them at a dolmen, and it also will help with your DPS a lot if you choose to do a route like Spellscar or something where it actually is dependent on your DPS. Companions don't increase your DPS a lot in the end game, but they can be as strong or even stronger than you depending on how you've geared and leveled them up when you have a brand new character. That may be a bit of an exaggeration, but sometimes I really feel like Zarethvar is slamming way harder than I am with like a level 5 to 10 tune. Now that about sums it all up. Of course, there are things I missed, and I love you guys. Please do put it in the comments. I will come up with an updated, expanded video eventually, adding anything I missed here. But I feel like as a primer, as a basic guide, that is enough to help you you figure out what you should be doing if you want to get to level 50 with your sanity intact, and without wasting too much time. I want to address the fact that people often do arenas as a way to level up. That is so confusing to me because they're so slow, they take forever, and they're also extremely difficult. So I wouldn't do that. The same way I wouldn't just jump into a public dungeon immediately because you need high DPS. Just remember, you're going to be weak for a while. Your companion will help, but you want to be doing things that reward weak gameplay, like Dolmens that are basically AFK and kind of boring for that reason, and lots of people are just dolmened out, and I get that. But if that's you, I mean, I like you, but I'm not really targeting this video at you. I'm targeting this video at people who just don't know what to do. Maybe this is your third or fourth character, you're tired of doing it the slow way, you want to speed things up, get a little bit more professional. I hope I've helped you do that today. In the end, you can just basically do it passively. Just play the game and you will get to level 50. It's designed to do that. There's even a way, I should mention this, that you can level up the crafting skills on a character first and then get a bunch of master writs and do it on that character. Like, some people are able to get from level 1 to 50 in like an hour this way. That's such a janky, crazy method that lots of people have already talked about in different videos, though I'm basically just going to admit it. But yeah, you can get master writs, you can level up that way. There are so many different ways to do it, but my method is easy, it's satisfying, and unless you've already done like a million dolmens, it shouldn't be that tedious or difficult to get through. So as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, being part of the channel. I hope this video was helpful, that I didn't lead anyone astray, and that it was at least reasonably complete in its information while also being concise. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, like and share the video, and consider becoming a member. I give glory to God for my ability to be here, for this wonderful game we play, and for all the blessings in my life. Thanks be to you guys for being here. God bless you. I'll see you next time.